What if you found out that none of your friends like you? Would you be all... oh, would you be more like me and go, who cares? My brother told me this year. He was like, don't need friends. Don't want friends. All they do is let you down. Or was it, I don't need friends, then you won't be disappointed. I think that was the one, yeah. Well, you know, how many friends do you really need? You got to wonder about people who've got loads and loads of friends. Say, this is my friend, this is my friend. People who hang out with loads of different people all the time. You got to wonder, like, what are they? Friend whores? Possibly. But this is from Complex, of all places. Yes. Sad study. Shows most of your friends don't actually like you. What a thing to say. I'm not sure if it's like most of your friends don't actually like you, as in maybe they just don't like you as much as you think they do. I don't know. You know those people you call your friends? Yeah, your friends. You know, friends. You know, people that you hang out with and laugh with. You know, people that do anything for you. Yeah, they may not actually deserve that label, because chances are a good chunk of them don't consider you a friend. Maybe it's the old I give and you take situation. You are my friend, but I am not your friend. A recent study published in the scientific journal PLOS ONE, is that a typo? PLOS ONE, analyzed surveys from 600 students in Israel, Europe, and the US to try and determine. Why don't we just put Israel, Europe, and the US? It's like, come on, man. Like, Europe is very big. Like, we need some more specifics. Very diverse is Europe in terms of cultural attitudes and so on and so forth. But there you go. To try and determine how many of their friends were actually their friends. And that is how many of their relationships were mutual. The findings of the study will definitely depress you, because that's what you want from articles these days, is to be depressed. That's kind of the the main selling point of all articles these days, is you know, not to uplift or not to inform or educate or enlighten. It's just to make you feel angry or depressed. So, you know, that's good. As it turns out, approximately half of your friends consider you a friend. Half. So that's 2 people in my world. That's right. If you believe you have about 20 friends, you probably only have 10. My condolences. All right, I don't want your half-baked pity, please. Thank you. It turns out that we're very bad at judging who our friends are. Dr. Erez Shmuley, one of the study's authors, said after the study was done, if you think someone is your friend, you expect him to feel the same way. But in fact, that's not the case. Oh, and it gets worse. Oh, brilliant. I mean, that's what you want, is for them to start with the less bad news and work up to the worst news possible. You know, go on the roller coaster of a downward turn into depression land. One-sided friendships are, as you would expect, not as valuable as mutual ones. You don't say. Shmuley explained, the study found that friends in one-sided relationships don't have as much influence over one another. One experiment, for example, found that only reciprocal friendships helped motivate people to exercise. Well, Alright. I don't need friends that motivate me to exercise. I just, you know, should be like self-motivation that does that, to be honest with you. Which I have been lacking the past few weeks, to be fair. So maybe I need a friend to tell me to exercise in the morning. Maybe that's why. Or maybe I'm just fucking busy and lazy at the same time. But this. If you need a friend to motivate you to do all the things that you need to do, you need to check yourself, really. You need to reevaluate, take stock, and find your own way. Because you can't just rely on friends for everything. You know, can't rely on friends to make you feel good about yourself. Can't rely on friends to help you out in your time of need. I know this sounds all kind of troubling. There's nothing troubling about this survey. It says not real friends. It's like, friends is a subjective term in my world. It's like who you hang out with. Some people look after you. Some friends will like make you feel bad. They really do. Some friends will hold things against you. Some friends will just be shitty. And they could be really good friends. And they can still be shitty people. Because they're just shitty people. A lot of people are just shitty. That's the way I see it. That's why, like, I had to give up. I had this system. Well, I had this... Not really a system. I had a philosophy. No, I had a... what did I have? Don't turn off yet. I'm going to think of it. Hold on. Basically, I had a rule. That's it. I had this rule. That you only get a certain amount of chances with me. It used to be just one. It was one chance. You fuck with me, and then you're gone. I bin you off. And I've binned off so many friends because of the one chance system. That after a while I had to reevaluate, because one of my closer friends just really let me down like 2 times, and but you know, I love them to death, and I know they're a flaky motherfucker. So I was like, well, I don't want to, like, I can quite happily sort of get on with my world and my life with people missing. And even more so now, like before, I mean, after losing my father, I was like, even more so, I was like, wow, he's gone. Nothing I can do about that. So I don't really feel any types of way about people no more. I'm just like, yeah, well, if you want to go, then all right, bye. Because I just get on with it. I like my own company. You know, I mean, it's not like your friends suck your dick, is it? Do you know what I'm saying? Unless you've got a real good friend that will just suck your dick whenever you want, and good for you, and long may that continue. But obviously, if you find someone you fall in love with, you're gonna have to, you know, first of all, keep that to yourself, and work out some sort of solution to that issue, because the blowjobs probably get really good, because friends would give better blowjobs than lovers. Possibly. I don't know. That's a theory I just made up right now. But yeah, I had to reevaluate that system. And it's like, well, I'm going to end up friendless, because it's like, I mean, I'm pretty sure I do things to let people down as well. So I came up with, like, you know, 3 strikes. 3 strikes is always fair, isn't it? So, you know, some of them, and, you know, after a couple of strikes, after 1 strike or 2 strikes, I just, you know, I just leave them be for a while. And if they get in contact, then it's all cool, you know. But if they don't, then I just leave you over there. When I feel like contacting you. And I never really contact anyone. I always wait for people to contact me, to be honest, anyway. And then probably other people are the same. Like, me and my sister didn't talk for years, because pretty much through stubbornness, because on my birthday I called her and she never returned my call. So I waited for her to return my call. Refused to call her for about 6 years. That's a true story. I literally, she said she thought we'd fallen out over something. I was like, no, you just didn't call me back. So I was like, well, I ain't calling you until you call me. And she just didn't, and just came up to a conclusion in her own brain. It's strange shit. I know. That's families though. But with friends, it's like, I got some real close friends I haven't spoken to in ages. But social media now, it's like, well, you know they're okay until they put out an emotional distress signal. And then you're like, And one of my last friends who put out an emotional distress signal on social media, I actually went, all right, okay, contacted them, and they're just being a dick. So I didn't even give them, they're just being a dick about it. They were actually being a dick. So I was like, I didn't even give them, I didn't even Give them the luxury of the 3-strike system. Bye. Goodbye to them. That's goodbye. And I don't miss your ass. So just so you know, I don't fucking miss you. You know who you are. Who are your real friends then? I don't know. I mean, define real friends. I know people who are just proper terrible friends. It turns out there are a few easy ways to tell. The study found that the number of mutual friends you have and the similarity of your social statuses can determine whether you're actually friends or not. Specifically, the difference in the number of friends of the two individuals is a good predictor. Shmuley told Complex over email. Do we need the specifics that was over email? I don't know. Maybe that's how Complex does things. They like you to know exactly how they spoke to them. The higher the difference is, the lower the likelihood of the friendship to be reciprocal. Right, I need to reread that. I don't understand it. I'm sorry. What am I missing? So the number of mutual friends you have and the similarity of your social statuses can determine whether you're actually friends or not, right? Specifically, the difference in the number of friends of the two individuals. So it's like a mutual friends, whatever. I can't be bothered to work that out. I'm sure it makes perfect sense to someone right now and they think I'm an idiot, so good for you. So that guy who hangs out with you and all your other friends at the same time, at the same bar every Friday night, probably your friend. The girl who's insanely popular and invites you to a party once in a while, probably not your friend. Sorry. I think doesn't everyone fucking know that anyway? Like at school, big social circles. I was in a big social group at school, and there was a hell of a lot of people in there. And there's people in there in that social group who didn't like me at all, and I didn't like them. But we'd all hang out like all the time, hang out in school, hang out at weekends. You know, you went on fucking holidays. Well, actually, I turned up at the holiday uninvited. Actually, but that's another story altogether. Didn't have to pay for the accommodation though. That's how you do it, my friends. Well, that's how I used to do it. I'm a better person now, but yeah, turn up unannounced. You never know what free stuff you can get out of it. But that's like big social groups. I don't like big groups, gangs. You know, collectives. You just you know, you're sort of tolerating an individual because you're in a collective, but as soon as they're on their own, you're just not really having much discussions. You know, I know people through who are friends with other people, and I'll hang out with them. Yeah, I'm sure you all do. I don't think there's anything revealing about this, unless you're just really naive, or I don't know. Yeah, probably naive. You know. You're some naive person who just thinks that everyone's your fucking friend, and then suddenly you work out like, oh, what do you mean you don't want me to come to your wedding? Weddings is when you'll find out. I mean, I haven't been at no one's wedding, but most people I know is socially retarded anyway, so they'll probably never get married. But you know, if you don't get invited to something like that, or you just get invited to the reception and not the actual ceremony, I think that's a big indicator. That'll tell you where you stand. You know, little things like that. But I think for people to not realise the difference between close friends and just what we call sort of acquaintances, you know. That's why I'm like careful about my friend. Sometimes I just go, this geezer I know, or this guy I hang out with. You know. Term friend should be not used sparingly, you know, like when you go around saying you hate something, you know, you got to be careful, because you can't just be hating everything. Oh, I hate Mondays. It's like, really, you hate a whole day that happens 52 times a year. You just hate that. You hate that day specifically. You just hate a day. It's like, no, you don't. Like, come on. You just hate what happens on Mondays. You don't actually hate a Monday. Well, you dislike it, but hate. So don't be throwing around hate too much. Don't be throwing around the term friends. Otherwise, you're going to be everybody's friend. And we know about everybody's friend. Ooh, we don't want to be everybody's friend. And what I will say, this probably should be read by girls, I suppose. Like, some girls are just the worst. I know so many girls who are just the worst friends to each other. Like, they are just terrible friends. I mean, atrocious friends. And they fall out over this and they fall out of that. And rightfully so. Like, sometimes people fall out over trivial bullshit. But I know so many girls who, like, fall out over, like, legitimately just heinous things. And then they're friends again within a few weeks after threatening to kill each other and all this. Like, sleeping with each other's mans. You know. Constantly disrespecting each other behind each other's back. Thieving. Just, you know. Just the most horrible, you know, horrible things. You always wonder, like, well, why you two hang out with each other? You are terrible for each other. And then it all blow up, and they'll slag each other off to you, just days on end, saying, she's a slag, she's this, she's that. And then a few weeks later, or even sometimes days, maybe even hours, and they're just best friends again, like rolling around suddenly there's this tight knit unit that you can't get in between, and they're cussing your ass out, and then suddenly they're broken up again, and then they're cussing each other out, and then just girls, man. Those are the ones who've got to reevaluate. Like, well, we're not very good friends, are we? Because we're terrible to each other. But the thing is, if you're like tightly knit with someone, like especially people who've grown up together and known each other for a long time, you're going to be hanging out all the time. And when you get so used to hanging out with someone, it just becomes a bit toxic, I suppose. And then they sort of go, well, I haven't really got any other friends, so just going to have to forgive her for, having sex with my dad. And whilst my boyfriend watched, that kind of thing. They'll just have to brush it aside and go, I guess they're desperate. They ain't got really much else going on. They're like, oh, well, gonna have to put up with this absolute cunt in my life. Is the only cunt who'll talk to me, so I'm just have to put up with it. I don't know, but yeah, some awful friends out there. Awful. Me, I live by a code. Okay, there's certain things you don't do to friends. All right. This is all right. You don't have sex with their girlfriends or boyfriends, whichever one you want. Right? You definitely don't go have sex with someone that they're interested in, unless they are the one. And you can safely say, she's the one. I will do everything in my power to have her. Well, then, that is the universe telling you that you've got to make a hard decision. But generally, you don't do that because there's plenty of there's college girls graduating in June. You don't need to do that. But you don't do that mainly because, like some people that handle it, but most people can't handle that kind of thing. That's why you don't go after someone that someone else likes, because it just never works. It just never works out good, and it just builds resentment and stuff. You should take the intelligent approach first before the emotional one. What's your brain and your gut instinct tell you before your emotions start dictating rubbish to you? Go about like that. That's what you don't do to friends. And obviously, there's other things that you don't do to friends, like steal. Well, I've probably stolen off every friend I've ever had. You joking? Cause stuff like that. Don't cuss their mothers or fathers. And one thing I'd say: do not befriend their enemies. Loyalty. Yeah. Do not befriend their enemies. Pick a side, bitch. But if you're out there thinking that you've got like 30 friends and they're all your friends, then you don't need to study to work out that they're not. You should have known that from day one. You should know these things. Some people just don't know nothing.